Today we have the earbud that I use the most, the Sennheiser Momentum 2, going up against the XM4. All right, let's start with the design of the earbuds. Both have quite an elegant look, and I personally don't mind both. Both of them are some of the chunkiest buds on the market, but the Momentum 2s overall slightly less chunk action and a far superior fit, because when it comes to comfort, the Momentum 2 are miles better than the XM4s. They have great ergonomics. They use regular silicone ear tips compared to Sony's hybrid foam silicone ear tips that start to give me a bit of discomfort after about 45 minutes of use. Where on the Momentum 2, I can wear for a solid 2 hours with no issues at all. Now, both buds are chunky, so they will stick out a bit if you're not into that. But in terms of security, it's pretty even here, both staying in fine, like when I'm weight training, even when running, when I'm like clenching my jaw through those harder sets. They do budge out ever so slightly, a little bit more on the XM4s. But overall though, when it comes to just general use, training, the Momentum 2s are one of my go-to pairs, especially if I'm just doing some cardio. I chuck them in. The fit is super easy to get in compared to the XM4s, where you kind of have to like shove the bud down into the ear, wiggle it around to get a nice snug fit. Momentum 2s, no issues at all. But keep in mind, fit is different for everyone. I'm just explaining what's happening for me here. Could be different for you. But if you like using your buds when training, both have an IPX rating, so fine for sweat and splashes of water. You just can't submerge your buds in water. Now let's talk about battery life. You get 8 hours from the buds, 24 hours in total on the XM4s. That's with noise cancelling on. Couldn't find the battery life for the Momentum 2s with noise cancelling on. But anyway, in my testing, 70% volume, tested on an iPhone 12 Pro, 8 hours and 9 minutes on the XM4s, 4 hours and 55 minutes on the Momentum 2s. And keep in mind, that's also with high-end sound tuning on, which does use more battery life. In terms of fast charge, 5 minutes will give you an hour's playback on the XM4s. 10 minutes will give you an hour and a half playback on the Momentum 2s, but you are only getting wireless charging on the XM4s. So overall winner for battery life here are the XM4s, more total battery life, and the case is a lot smaller as well. The magnets on both pairs are incredibly strong to the point where it's sometimes hard to take the buds out of the case, but something you get used to. Both pairs have an indicator light, but it's easily noticeable on the XM4s, where on the Momentum 2s, it's on the back of the case. And when you take the buds out of the case, it's really slow for them to start playing music and connect to your phone. They both take about 12 to 13 seconds. Now onto controls though. The clear winner here are the Momentum 2s, giving you full customization of each individual touch function, so you can control your noise cancelling, your transparency, your playback, as well as volume controls. Where on the XM4s, you can add volume control, but you have to sacrifice your playback or ambient controls, which I'm not a fan of at all. I really hope Sony sorts this out one day. Both pairs do have in-ear detection though, which will automatically pause and play your music, and you can turn this on and off in the apps. Some extra features on the XM4 though is speak to chat. So if you start talking, that'll pause your music and turn your transparency mode on. You have some customization in the Sony app with that. And you also have quick attention, which is a hold on either earbud that you choose to have your ambient controls on, and that'll bring your volume down and turn your transparency mode on, so you can hear someone talking to you if you don't want to take the earbuds out of your ears. A slight con with the XM4s though is when you're switching between noise cancelling and transparency, your music is brought down to a very low volume for about 1.5 seconds, where on the Momentum 2s, you just get a subtle beep and your volume isn't brought down. So it doesn't really take you out of your music as much. Now onto connectivity, the Momentum 2s are giving you Bluetooth 5.1, SBC, AAC, and aptX, where the XM4s are giving you Bluetooth 5.2, SBC, AAC, and LDAC. And in terms of streaming quality, comparing aptX to LDAC, LDAC is going to be far superior, kind of closer to what you'll get with a wide pair of earbuds. But aptX is still pretty good. With Bluetooth range, I got the same in my outdoor test, 25 meters. That's in a clear open space. And I got about 15 meters away from my phone. That's downstairs, upstairs, through 5 walls. Now there is no multi-pairing on either pair, but it is easier to switch devices on the XM4, because if you want to connect to another device, you don't have to disconnect from your other device, where on the Momentum 2s, you have to disconnect from your old device before you connect to your new one. Or you can hold down the touch surface on both buds for 3 seconds, it'll turn it into pairing mode, and then you can connect to your new device. But a bit of an issue with the Momentum 2s is that you can only use the right earbud individually, not the left, where on the XM4s, you can use either earbud individually. And like the Momentum 2s aren't that old of a pair, it shouldn't have been a thing when they came out, but sadly, it's still there. And when you're only using the right earbud on the Momentum 2s, it doesn't even work in mono mode, so you're only gonna hear one audio channel, where on the XM4s, if you're using one, you're gonna hear both audio channels in the one earbud, and they take it a step further. If you're using both earbuds, take one out of your ear, the earbud that's still in your ear will automatically switch into mono mode, which which I really like. Now, in terms of latency, here are all my latency tests on both iOS and Android. So with YouTube and Netflix, Disney Plus, all that stuff, no latency to be seen. When it comes to gaming, like casual gaming, if you're below 400, you'll be good. If you want some real low latency, around 200, below that, you'll be good there. Now let's quickly touch up on the apps. Both are bringing you like your basic EQ customization, but you are getting a lot more options on the Sony app, including transparency customization, adaptive sound control, which allows you to change certain settings dependent on the location you're at. Speak to chat, which I mentioned, the EQ is a lot better as well, and a couple extra connection and DSE extreme options in there as well to improve your sound quality. All right, let's run through the microphone test now. I've got some indoor and outdoor tests that I'll just chuck up here so you can hear all the differences for yourself. All right, and here is a microphone test with the Sony WF-1000XM4s in a nice quiet room. All right, here's a microphone test with the Sennheiser Momentum 2 in a nice quiet room. And this is what they sound like with some crowd noise being played off my desktop computer speakers. And this is what they sound like with some crowd noise being blasted out of my computer speakers. And this is what they sound like with a fan blasting right in my face right now to mimic what it would be like to be on a phone call outside on a windy day. And this is what they sound like with a fan being blasted right in my face to mimic what it would be like to be on a phone call outside on a windy day. All right, so here is a microphone test with the Sony WF-1000XM4s. These now use bone conduction technology, which is supposed to pick up your voice better, more effectively, and block out the noise going on behind me. But one slight issue is they don't pick up outside noise, like turn on transparency mode automatically. So I've currently got noise cancelling on. It's kind of hard to hear my own voice, but hopefully still microphones sound pretty good. All right, and here we are with the Sennheiser Momentum 2 earbuds. In my testing, they have a really good microphone. Not the best at blocking out background noise though, especially on a busy highway like this, but a good thing if you have noise cancelling on, it'll automatically turn transparency mode on whenever the microphones are in use. All right, before we talk about noise cancelling, a quick little drop on my Instagram here. If you want to stay updated with behind the scenes action of me and my audio ventures, link is down below. All right, on the noise cancelling. And quickly how I test my noise cancelling, I chuck my soundbar on really loud. It has a sub. I chuck on some plane noise, train noise, cafe noise, and you can hear all the low frequencies and the high frequencies really well. And here's my ANC ranking here. It's a simple one. The XM4s are way better. You can see where the Momentum 2s are on my list. They're just not that great in terms of blocking out high frequencies and low frequencies. They do a better job at more consistent sounds, but with voices and things clanging around in the gym or like cutlery, the XM4s are just way better. In terms of EQ shift, there's legit none on the Momentum 2s, maybe like a 5% reduction on the XM4s, but still really good considering the ANC performance you get. ANC hiss is very minimal on both pairs, but only the XM4s are giving you automatic wind noise reduction, which will hear the wind coming through the microphones and bring the noise cancelling quality down so you don't hear wind in your ears. But the Momentum 2s, probably because the noise cancelling isn't that strong, doesn't let as much wind noise in just with noise cancelling on normally. Now, in terms of the transparency mode, overall better one is the XM4s. It's a lot more natural and you can still hear everything quite well, where the Momentum 2s, it kind of gives you like superhuman hearing. It's like you can hear things in a distance really well. Like I could hear like my next door neighbor's conversation. It was really strange. Took the earbuds out of my ears, but basically you can't really hear voices that well in front of you on the Momentum 2s. It's still not terrible, but like I rate the Momentum 2 7 out of 10, the XM4s an 8 out of 10. And you can only customize the transparency strength on the XM4s, not on the Momentum 2s. Now, before we talk about sound quality, let's quickly touch up on volume. I rate both pairs here 7.5 out of 10 if you're looking for some loud level listening. Both should be enough unless you want some like ridiculously deafening volumes. But the XM4s, I found maybe like half a click louder at 100% than the Momentum 2s. Keep in mind, this is tested on Spotify. Something like Apple Music is naturally a lot louder. Now, if you're looking for low level listening, I'm gonna give it to the XM4s. They're bedtime certified. They go nice and low at the lowest volume, where the Momentum 2s are still a little bit loud. There's also a very minimal amount of white noise hiss, even with noise cancelling on. Turn it off, and there's barely any on either pair. And if you like using your earbuds when like you're lying down or going to sleep, I wouldn't say you could use either, but the better pair would probably be the Momentum 2s since their fit isn't as intrusive. Maybe for a nap, definitely couldn't sleep with these on, but everyone's different. All right, now onto the sound quality itself, and I'm going to be talking about the Momentum 2s with high-end sound tuning on, which kind of cleans up the sound a little bit, and no EQ customization at all. Because I found like the EQ on the Momentum 2s, you can tweak it a little bit, but I don't find it responds as well as the XM4s. So on the XM4s, I bump up the upper mid-range, the treble, and the bass slightly. And you can really tailor the XM4s to become really balanced, a bit more treble, a little bit more bass focused. With the Momentum 2s, it's not as easy to do. Now, compared to all the other buds in this video series, most of them had a similar tuning to the XM4s, where the Momentum 2s are quite different, bringing some more of a V-shaped tuning this time around. So you're getting a nice, tasteful amount of both sub bass and mid bass, with the mid-range being slightly recessed, which I don't mind, but the star of the show is that treble response. It has great detail, but some of the sparkliest treble, is that even a word? The sparkliest treble in the whole true wireless world. So compared, the XM4s are bringing you the same amount of sub bass, slightly less in the mid bass. The mids are a lot more forward though. And the trebles, when EQ'd as I've EQ'd them, do sound very nice and detailed, but don't have the same sparkle the Momentum 2 have. So with this tuning, on certain songs, I found instrument separation was a little bit better, and the mid-range being boosted, obviously vocals are going to come through a lot clearer, and certain instrumentation does as well, but not in terms of everything. And when it comes to soundstage, both have some really great soundstage here, some of the best in the true wireless world. I'd say it's pretty even. So overall, choosing a better pair here, it really comes down to what you like. And this is kind of something like I mainly use the Momentum 2s as my like main go-to listening earbud. I'm kind of used to that tuning. When I tried the XM4s, they still sounded great, and that can be something that you get used to as well. But I just kind of prefer that kind of V shape with the mids being slightly recessed. Going back and forth between the two buds, you can kind of feel like the XM4s carry a little bit of extra detail and clarity, but I don't know what it is. There's something about the Momentum 2s, even though the mids are slightly recessed. After listening to them for a while, they're still my favorite and the bud that I always go to. So look, I can explain all the differences here, but like it's like sound quality. Sometimes a certain bud you're just going to be drawn to for whatever reason, and that's just something that you can't really explain in a video like this. But a couple extra things to point out here is that below 70%, it's actually very close, because the XM4 sound the best at 70% and below. When you go above 70% volume, the treble and sub bass doesn't really get boosted, where the mids and the mid bass does get boosted quite a bit, kind of creating a bit of a muddy and bloated sound on a lot of songs. And I explain this in detail in my full XM4 review, which I'll link up here. So in comparison, the Momentum 2s retain the exact same tuning all the way from 70% all the way to 100% volume. And I have to say, the Momentum 2s at 100% volume, like they're not incredibly loud at that volume, but definitely loud enough for me. They are the best sounding earbud in any earbud I tested when it comes to a nice balanced sound, great clarity, great soundstage, because they don't get too harsh. The treble can get maybe on some songs that aren't mastered that well, a little bit harsh, but these are my go-to bud when I just want some loud listening. I want my great clarity, and it's a nice full sound that's incredibly immersive, and that's exactly what you get on the Momentum 2s. But I've been blabbering on there. Let's continue with the sound quality explanation. And now I'm going to run through my genre rating checklist to let you know which bud I think sounds better with each individual genre. And here are all my results. And I've given the win to the XM4 with EDM and radio, hip hop and R&B, being more vocal driven music. That mid-range being a little bit more boosted on the XM4s does work better, but again, the Momentum 2s still sound great and potentially better at high volumes. But with everything else, I'm giving the win to the Momentum 2s. Sure, at those lower volumes, it's a little bit closer there, but when I'm venturing above the 70% volume range, but on the Momentum 2s, it's like the last two clicks that really give you that extra boost in the volume. Those last two clicks is where they just really start to sound amazing, and they are still my favorite pair when it comes to overall sound quality. Even with genres like hardstyle, trap and dubstep, the nice boost in both the mid bass and the sub bass gives you that nice rumble, but synths just come through with such amazing attack, amazing clarity, and this is all in that nice open sound stage, and the separation is really great as well. This carries over to trance and psytrance, especially with psytrance. Like if I'm gonna listen to a new psytrance song, I'm chucking these buds out of any earbud that I own. And with trance, just that treble being nice and sparkly works great with the synths and all the angelic vocals. Basically, when it comes to a nice balanced sound, but you still still love your bass and clarity, they're my number one. But I hope this sound explanation has helped you figure out what pair might be best to get. But anyway, let's run through the main pros and cons of each bud, starting with the Momentum 2s. So the main pros, you got great comfort, great security, completely customizable controls, and great sound quality that stays the exact same at all volumes. And to me, those are the three most important factors when it comes to choosing my earbuds. Because look, they don't have the smallest case, they don't have the best battery life, they don't have the best noise cancelling performance. You can only use the right earbud individually. But for me, that's not what's most important. I need a great fit. I need customizable controls with volume control, and more importantly, great sound quality at all volumes. And the XM4s have far superior noise cancelling, a smaller case, longer battery life, the LDAC codec, and more app customization. Look, the list goes on, but they're all smaller things that don't matter too much to me. They might matter more to you. So that's why I made this video. I'm hoping this comparison helps you figure out which pair is best for you. All right, but that wraps it up for today. In the next video, I'm gonna be comparing the XM4s to a bud 1/3 of the price, the Edifier Neo Buds Pro, and they come incredibly close in terms of overall quality. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, stay picky with your audio because life's too short for crappy sound. See you in the next video. Bye now.